Welcome back, guys, to Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations, where last episode we got into a series of arguments on who the killer is. After bringing the fact that Colin Devereux and Lauren Pops were father and daughter into the light, suspicions and confessions began to flip between Lance Amano and Lauren Pops as we tried to figure out who actually is the guilty party. After pointing out lie after lie, we seem no closer to the truth, with the murder at the stadium appearing itself to be a fabrication. That leaves us with no scene of the crime currently discovered, as we now wonder what Miss Pops saw. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape.
So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right?
We thought that it would attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium. But then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone.
Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pops saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means the victim was still alive at that time, wouldn't you agree?
Why does that sound wrong to me?
There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. You want me to press, do you?
I came back to the hideout long after the other two.
Hold it! When exactly did you arrive back at the hideout?
It was after we had picked up the ransom money.
And where were you up until the time you returned?
I was scouting the park out and making preparations for our escape. I walked around in the various areas looking for the best route.
Ah, so each of them had their own roles to play.
After I was done, I went back to the hideout. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon.
Hold it! How did Lance look at that time?
He looked shocked. He also looked a little down. When I saw that sadness in his eyes,
Thank you. That's enough for now. And what of Mr. Deacon? What was his situation like?
He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. That's me! It's me!
Hold it! You were sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw?
Yes, I'm certain of what I saw.
Did you go into the other room to check?
Lance said that it was best if I didn't get too close to him.
Did you put the costume on me then, like not just the head? Because you surely noticed my red frilly clothes and all that.
Lance, he's such a kind soul.
And are you telling me that you did not confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself?
I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a Bad Badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure. That just had to be Mr. Deacon.
You saw a Bad Badger head?
The captain had a Bad Badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure it was Mr. Deacon.
Really? Really? Hold it! So the tied up Mr. Deacon was still in his Bad Badger costume?
Yes, and?
It would appear that she misread the whole situation. What now? Should I raise an objection? There we go. Thank you for the prompt game. Let's raise an objection. The person you saw was not the victim.
What? Why not?
I will tell you why not. With this. This, Miss Pops, shows us that the person you saw was not the victim. Like, what actually tells? It's just... the head tells you nothing. But that was left in the isolation room because it fell off my head. I mean, you saw the head. You didn't see the victim. That's going to be the point. Because that's the only thing that I have that was in that room. Take that! Miss Pops, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all. Huh? The person you actually saw was this person.
It was me!
It was me.
Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth.
I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even if I had even after I'd handed over the ransom? It's not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right? That's... You showed Miss Porps a person, namely me, with a bad badger's head on, and then made your costumed escape together. Or so you pretended.
Huh? What do you mean he pretended?
Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape, and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the bad badger head from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop sword, he then escaped via the passageway. Hold your tongue, boy. Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. A tidal wave? We've had a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cold. That's right! You were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. What? What? Didn't you just say? What? Didn't you just admit, like, kind of then? Even if that were the case, Miss Porps would have still seen me tied to that beam. I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room. So I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, it would seem that you can't prove a thing. Ah. Huh? Who said that? Who objected? Ah. Please wait. Mr. Amano. Oh, Miles, my boy. It looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others. Dad! Let's see. You are the one in charge of the investigation, correct? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh, do you now? Is that what I think it is? It's the bad badger costume the victim was wearing, and the gun! I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea. Ah, is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There, now. Agent Lang, please calm down. Well, look at that scrap of paper.
This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says.
What? The Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is?
The person who wields the highest authority in this area.
Oh, there now. There is no need to be so upset. I'm not a cop in this land, so I'm not bound by the laws of your country. Now. This wasn't meant to be strong-arm you into anything. It's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of the land. I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand, it doesn't matter who found the evidence. Its value remains unchanged. Alright, now, let's take a look at this new evidence. I've already got the results back. I had a special forensics research lab that I'm on good terms with conduct the tests. They verify that the blood on this costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren. What? You disappoint me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you'll have no reason left to push my poor boy around. Well, that's it. These are the case-making pieces of evidence. Ha! I'll be the judge of that. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Well, the gun hole first, because I want to check if there's another one up at the shoulder. So what's in the head?
This bullet hole.
It's kind of burnt around the edges.
Wait, those burn marks were left by the gunpowder. This is a most important fact.
Why is that?
Because it is proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range.
As we suspected, very personal.
Victim's costume data has been updated in my organizer. I guess we look at the two guns. Could this gun be the actual murder weapon?
I don't know. We'd have to fire it to find out if it's the prop or not. Well, actually, I don't know how, I'm English. I don't do guns. We don't do guns here. So I don't know if it's very obvious to see if it's a blank or not.
Alright, what's that?
What's this? Looks like there's something inside the costume head. Hey, they sparkle. I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. Why are they in here? Okay, there was that broken mirror in that room. Oh, that's all I need to look at.
Well, are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen?
Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. Should it? Why are you stating something now? Decisive evidence. Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun. Oh, we've got the victory music. And they prove that it was Lolly who killed Oliver. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life. So, Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense. Okay. The fingerprints on the weapon. Oh no, this isn't helpful at all. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is save Lolly. But in the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes the punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do. However, I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. You wound me. Why won't you believe me, even in the face of all this evidence? Because it's false? This is probably why. Decisive evidence, you say. Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun, but it was thrown in the ocean. Those fingerprints, are you sure they belong to Miss Pops?
There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensic techniques money can buy performed.
But they probably placed the fingerprints on there somehow. You're a very protective dad. I find that to be a bit peculiar.
What? Are you trying to pick an argument with me?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Well, yeah, because you should get it done by the actual police. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pops' prints should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why Miss Pops' prints should not be on the gun is... There's a reason? I don't know. Uh-oh. Let's scroll through stuff. Blue badger equals Lauren Porps. Promoter badger equals Lance Amano. Bad badger equals Oliver Deacon. Body was moved. Yeah, we know that. Oh no! Victim's costume worn at time of shooting. Gunpowder burn is proof he was shot from point blank. Could it be that? I don't know. We can actually look at the thing, but it's the mirror fragments inside that we need to know more about. We've got the love letter. No, that's not going to be related at this point. The Oliver Deacon, Colin Deveray information. Broken Pop Sword, is it going to be useful for right now? Okay, the missing model gun was ripped from the Bad Badger's costume. It's capable of firing blanks. Oh, God! I mean, there shouldn't be fingerprints. Because they should be in costume anyway, I guess. Used to kill Deacon. Can I examine this in some way? Haven't I already examined this? They found Miss Pops' fingerprints on this gun. Can you let me hold it for a sec? I shouldn't if you don't know how to handle it. Besides, Miss Pops' prints are on it. Look, I'm wearing gloves. It'll be okay. I just want to take a look, that's all. It's not like I'm going to run off with it. The only things I don't return are treasures. Stealing either one would land you in jail, you know? Wearing gloves. She literally just said it then for the very obvious reason, you know? There's a very, very, very obvious reason that she just said that then. I mean, I don't think it's the gun. Which were found inside the victim's costume. Oh, God. So it's got to be a costume? We've got to probably state that costumes are the reason. So it's either... Because, like, should be no fingerprints on it. One was in the blue badge gear. I mean, saying it's the victim's costume isn't going to be right, because that was the one that was shot after all. I don't know! But she saw the... I mean, if she shot the... I'm just sorry I'm taking so long on this, but I'm just thinking like about this. The victim's costume itself, I mean, we can see it in all its glory. So the person she shot was wearing the other head, which was then present later on in that room, separate from those fragments. We're trying to prove that it's an earlier time after all, which those fragments are obviously going to prove that.
Take that!
Let's present this. Simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon. Because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Thank you! Huh?
Well, there's been no mistake. We found fingerprints.
Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time? I just did not know which one to do, so I just thought let's do it in the end. Ah, yes. As a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit back in the hideout. I handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house. To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pops' prints found their way onto the gun. You understand now, Mr. Amano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer. But you still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right? You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer. Oh, Lance!
What? No way! I'm incredibly worried about her. But that doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right?
That's where you're wrong. Oh my goodness, that took me forever. I have the evidence.
What? How?
The story that Miss Pops killed the victim of the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true because that was not the real crime scene, but a setup. This proves that the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all. It's the same piece of evidence, isn't it? Where's it gone? There we go. It's just this again, right? Because we know it was shot from, underneath at point-blank range.
Take that!
Let's just take another good look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe you will see why I insist he was not shot at the stadium. This is the part of the costume that proves it.
Take that!
The gunpowder residue, baby! The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point-blank range. Ah, so then you mean the murder Miss Oldbag saw at the stadium really was... Yes, she saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Ah!
Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor. I'm not so smart. It took me ages to get to here. Convincing myself it wasn't when it was. Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then?
Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were just before I was in prison was... the mirror. Is that what got shot? I got it! I know the real scene of the murder. The real location in which Mr. Deacon was killed is here.
Take that!
I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house. The haunted house? Yes, and I have proof that it is highly likely that the victim was killed there. What proves that the real scene of the crime was the haunted house? Mirror fragments! These were inside the costume the victim was wearing. They're fragments of a mirror.
A mirror? And what does that have to do with anything?
Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume. Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous.
However, there is one place I can think of where there is a plethora of mirror fragments. A plethora. And that is the haunted house. Ernest Amano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with a revolver in the haunted house. After that, you stole the blue Badgermobile to move his body to the Wild Wild West area. The timing of when the blue Badgermobile was stolen confirms this as fact. Miles, my boy, say no more. I'm sorry, Mr. Amano, but I cannot do that. Be quiet. Yes, please do something. Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense. Ernest Amano, correct? I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. How dare you! I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. And to call these mirror bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Shih-na, wasn't there a mirror in the kidnapper's hideout?
Yes, there was a mirror there. A mirror that's for the haunted house. You see, isn't it possible the fragments got into the costume there?
But Agent Lang, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low. Probability? Lang Z says, on truth's path, the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is do you have the definitive proof you need?
Well, Miss Edgeworth, do you?
Do I have solid evidence to prove the murder took place in the haunted house? The answer is no. See? So since you don't have any, shut up! I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at the haunted house, besides myself, were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove that the murder took place in the haunted house, then I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder.
What now, Mr. Edgeworth?
Agent Lang, I have a special request. Yeah? I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house.
Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission?
Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth.
Alright.
Permission granted. For you not to touch a single thing, got it? That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is. Shih-na!
I'm here.
Put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately.
Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval.
Hold it again, eh? Who was that? This time. Now. Let's hold on for a second. There is no need to obtain approval. Mr. Amano? Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this. What is this? Shih-na!
It's the deed to the haunted house.
The deed? Read it out loud.
Gatewater Land Inc. hereby bequeaths the property known as the haunted house to Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash.
A cover-up. What? As you can see, I am now the legal owner of the haunted house.
Are you kidding? When did you...
I ran into the owner of the park earlier and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye. That $1 million you paid. Don't tell me it was... Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used the ransom money? My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are, so if you would please discuss things with me from now on. Discuss? What is there to discuss? Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course. While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Amano was out there preempting us. Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Agent Lang, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever. Oh, to be continued? At this moment? At this juncture? I guess there's no better cliffhanger to leave you on than that. What are we doing? How long is this investigation continuing on for? We're nowhere near the end yet, because another person has tipped their hat, put their foot in, and said, hey, here's the cover-up. What are you going to do about it? Money trumps all, right? Money trumps all. We'll possibly find out, because Miles Edgeworth cannot be bent by the mere whims of money. I'll see you next time for more. Bye-bye.